Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to expose another eco-hypocrite. Oh yes, they love it. Lap it up. This is about David Lammy. David Lammy, he loves the environment. He also loves to cause division when it comes to racial issues. Obviously, we know that. This socialist MP, who could easily be in the next government if Keir Starmer becomes Prime Minister, is going around the world. He's traveling around the world, having big meetings, flying around thousands of miles while talking about the environment. All right. So do you remember recently we talked about how David Lammy went to Bilderberg? And there was a funny video because nobody knew who he was, the security, and he had to go back twice. And eventually he had to call a number of people for him to be allowed inside the conference, this secretive conference that they have, annual conference in Bilderberg. So he already did that. And he loved it. So he was like, oh, I'm David Lammy. Like, who? I'm David Lammy. I'm going to be in charge of government. Which government? The UK. Oh, okay. Good for you, David. Good for you. Now, he's gone to Brazil. So, he said, excellent welcome from Brazil's foreign minister, Vieira, and in Brasilia. He said, we discussed deepening UK-Brazil trade, partnering on education and working together on climate action and protecting the Amazon. Okay. Firstly, dealing with the Brazilian government. Good luck with that. A bunch of corrupt people. Second issue we have with this is that you're not a government official yet. So you're having official governmental meetings with other governments. That's brilliant. Thirdly, how long did it take to get there? How did you get there? That's the good point. So firstly, after meeting his counterpart, David Lammy said, we discussed all these things. But the problem with this is that he flew 5,000 miles to Brazil to talk about climate and global boiling stuff. You could have had a Zoom meeting. I mean, firstly, you're not in government, but let's just say you're preparing to be in government. You could have had a Zoom meeting. You could have a phone call. You don't have to travel. I mean, nobody forced you. This was a conversation that could have happened online. But no, you had to fly because, you like the free flights and free food and drinks and everything else. And they welcome you there. They have so much, they have a lot of gravy trains in Brazil. They love it. That's why you did that. We know. Now we got the leader of London Conservatives, Neil Garrett, saying, while London Labour guilt trip you for driving to work or visit family and slam you with a £12.50 a day charge to do it, long-haul Lammy shamelessly racks up the air miles. He never stops preaching about climate change, but the hypocrisy of taking 5,000-mile jollies to South America himself is not lost on anyone. It is true. He's a massive advocate for ULEZ, 50-minute neighbourhoods, and all the other measures, the pay-per-mile road charges. But for him, one rule, obviously for us plebs, and one rule for the elite. Yeah, classic, right? Now, we had a lot of reaction on social media. I'm going to show you some of my favorite reactions. This Devon guy said, has anyone told Mr. Vieira that you're not a government minister? I don't think they knew. I'm guessing he just said, I'm coming on behalf of the British government and the Britain as a country. I'm going to be in charge soon. Can we have a meeting? Yeah. We have Deb saying, I thought airline emissions contribute to the climate emergency, David? Or did you ride your bike there? Well, I can assure you he didn't ride a bike there because I'm not going to make that joke. I'm not going to make that joke again. I'll get cancelled again. So Stephen said, fine. But what are you doing there? Does he even know who you are? I mean, maybe he met some of his Brazilian friends at Bilderberg. I mean, that's actually highly likely because the Bilderberg meeting was a few months ago. He probably met them there, and he said, do you guys have a nice gravy train? And they're like, yeah, come, welcome, we're going to give you a red carpet and everything else. Yeah, come. And they said, well, let's arrange it. And we're going to brief the press and the media that I'm doing it for climate. And he openly tweeted about it. I flew to Brazil, not on his bike, on a plane. Jeff said, now that's one hell of a taxpayer-funded jolly. Yes, let's not forget that any of these things that happen, you're going to have to, basically, his salary is paid for by the taxpayer. His expenses paid for by the taxpayer. Who's going to be funding the trip to Brazil? Oh, the taxpayer. That's one bit that I forgot. Let's not forget about, obviously, he's going to get the freebies when he got to Brazil. But before he got there, he used taxpayers' money to get there, especially because it was a governmental visit. It wasn't a private holiday. He was there on behalf of the British government, somehow. Milo said, UK-Brazilian trade, because he also talked about the UK-Brazil trade, only made possible through Brexit. Genius. Absolutely spot on. So we have a trade agreement now and relationship with Brazil and all the other countries, whether you like it or not, and they're not even perfect arrangements. I'm not in favor of all the deals, but they only happen because we left the European Union, David. You want to go back to the EU. You've been protesting with the EU Ramoners, rejoiners, with a second referendum lot. So now you're in favor of the trade agreements between the UK and Brazil. Oh, how things change so quickly in British politics. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm Mahyar Tousi, and we are the media.